I love all of my friends, and I'm very happy that they've had babies, and lots of them have had babies in the last 2 years. But I am very tired of seeing constant updates on their cute baby photos.
Right.
And that is Facebook's ultimate fault, that I am this close to never using Facebook again.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I kind of thought the same, and I guess that's because you don't have a baby yourself. But I can, and I don't. But I kind of thought that once people have their firstborn, they should be automatically referred into the alternative version of Facebook, which is like baby Facebook, so they can just because they life disappears. It's just baby photos, and no one is interested. Only they're interested if they have babies themselves, so they could have their own separate social network.
Yeah, baby Facebook. Okay.
What's worse is when people make a Facebook page for their baby.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I disagree. I think you only add the people that you're friends with, or you want to see their, share information with. And two, you can make your life as interesting as you want it to be. No one's tying you down to live the life you do. So I think you shouldn't really because you're kind of like upset with other people for living such great lives. Then do something about your life and make it just as great. Okay. But then you don't necessarily have to put it on Facebook either way.
Okay, so we're talking about now, is Facebook a tool of oppression? Does it make us feel bad? Does it expose us to far too many baby photographs and people jumping out of aeroplanes and stuff like that? You wanted to say something?
Yeah, there's a lot in what's just been said. And, sometimes I've had to Photoshop myself in scenarios to make my life look more interesting than it is. Yeah. And I think everyone does that. Yeah. And also I'd like to say one thing about, it's interesting, on a serious note, when you say you should choose good friends and you should be happy that your friends are having fun and stuff, the actual algorithms that Facebook's using to display your feed have been under a bit of contentious news at the moment, because they're not actually showing you a diverse representation of your friends group. So on my feed, a lot of the time, I'm just seeing my own pictures come up about me. And it's like, I know what I did, and there's people in my life that I don't see on Facebook anymore, and I don't think about them anymore. And Facebook is dictating to me who I think about. And I think that's a bit scary.
Okay. So there's a few more people. We're talking about Facebook. Is it a great thing that makes us more aware, or is it a tool of oppression where we get to see hundreds of baby photographs and people jumping out of aeroplanes and people having fun that they're not really actually having? These two first, and we'll come over.
I think that Facebook is actually pretty bad for our health, particularly for our mental health.
Right.
I actually, just before Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year this year, I worked out that one of the things that was making me, I would find myself having kind of more unhappy thoughts after seeing how happy everyone else was. But for the people that I really love, I'm so happy that they're happy and that they've got all these great photos. And for all the people that I met a couple of times that still show up on my Facebook feed, it actually just makes me a bit miserable that they're so happy. I just don't want to know.
Happy that they're happy?
I'm happy that they're happy, but I guess this is look, come on, I think everyone knows what I mean. It's as human beings. Wait, but so I went through. So I decided this wasn't okay. So I went through. And I changed, I didn't defriend because that felt too nasty, but you can actually change the settings so that no one shows up on your Facebook feed who you don't want to. Right. So I went through, and now only people I care about show up on my Facebook feed. It took about 4 hours to go through everyone and change the settings, but it's made me a happier person.
Okay, so you can do something about it. Yep.
What I think is particularly interesting about the ease of which the masses can share their lives and document it and have it available for everyone. So the issue isn't so much as is the medium bad, it's just what the medium allows you to do. So every Tom, Dick or Harry can share everything about their lives, whereas if you look at maybe a couple of 100,000 years ago, whenever, if you're trying to make something that's going to last through the ages or be shared with people, you need to get someone who's a stonemason, a craft, all of that stuff. So you need to put a considerable amount of effort to share stuff with the rest of the world. So if you're going to do that, you've got to have some good shit to share. Whereas now everyone can put up pictures of their dog taking a crap and suddenly it's really important. So I think it's the issue of
so is that
the masses.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing that the entry point is so much lower?
Well, no, yes, the masses shouldn't be allowed to share their views, thoughts, and opinions because then really it's not that interesting and then you just end up becoming brain dead.
Should the masses be allowed to share their thoughts and opinions even if they're a little bit banal? That's the question at the moment.
Like, what makes you so special, man? Like, you the arbiter. Why are you allowed the microphone?
Well, you're allowed it as well.
I know, yeah, but I wasn't the one that made the point. I reckon that Facebook has resulted in a lot more people cheating on their spouses to get rumbled a lot more easily. There's a lot more photographic evidence out there.
Right.
I think it's created a syndrome where I've had it twice now, where I've been walking down the street and I've seen someone and I'm not friends with them on Facebook, but I am friends with someone who is friends with them. And we need a term for this now, I think, where like we have this kind of instant recognition of people.
Well, because you've seen them in...
Yeah, you've seen them in someone else that you know's photo. And it's weird in that sense that it brings us all closer together, but I'm not going to actually say to that person, I did feel the need to go on your profile for a bit and not add you as a friend, but just like you don't have your photos hidden or whatever.
So there's a kind of awkwardness and a
so we're talking about contradictions here, and on the one hand it opens us up to each other whilst also closing us off. On the one hand it allows people to express certain things whilst making it almost saturated to the point that no one's going to listen. It allows us to create things like you say that last, but they don't really last because it's all superficial and temporal, and they all just get swept under the rug. Is the law a bad thing or a good thing? The law means that we're to some degree protected from crime, but it also means that a lot of people end up locked up. So it depends what people are going to do with it ultimately, really, doesn't it? Well, it means that people are victimized and also often on the wrong side of the law. And cool.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll come back to you, Clive. You want to say something? And we'll come to you, then to you. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say I was thinking about the point about you made about photoshopping. I believe
photoshopping a more glamorous background into your Facebook.
I heard that. More men Photoshop their profile portrait than women, and that's something pretty interesting. Internet dating is also really interesting, and to compare Facebook to internet dating, trying to establish some sort of truth behind who we are as a mediated image.
Are we lying about ourselves, or are we enhancing who we are? Are we just presenting our best side, I suppose, the side that we want to see? We don't want to show photos of us when we get things wrong or when we're upset or when we've got a spot. I've got a couple more people.
Well, I had a really random question or a random point to make. I don't know if anybody read about this Turkish guy who sailed to the UK to meet somebody to meet this girl that he met 7 years ago, and he got obsessed with her, and he made this Facebook page saying, "I'm coming to find you." Basically, and he got arrested and deported in Devon. Wouldn't that be random to have some random guy make some random Facebook page with your name saying, "I'm coming to get you"? I don't know.
Okay, I mean, isn't he thinking that anyway? Like, it's better. Some things are better off in your head than out on the internet, I think, is the message.
I agree with. I disagree with what you said earlier in terms of I think that Facebook and the internet has kind of democratized and given power to the everyday person.
Yeah.
So now we have the ability to put good music there out there rather than just what's been pushed at us.
Right.
And this can be in terms of political opinions as well.
Yeah.
So we can get a better understanding of what everyone in general actually thinks rather than just a number of people that have gotten to power.
Okay.
And obviously there's going to be people who use it for rubbish. That's going to happen. But I also think there's a lot of people doing it for good as well.
Okay, so it does give us a voice and it gives us a say, even though it's a smaller voice than the... Okay.
I think that's an interesting point to pick up on because you're saying that prior to the advent of this goes kind of beyond Facebook, but that is a kind of an embodiment of the current digital age that we live in, where we can share everything and where we become arbiters of taste, as it were. It's no longer such a top-downwards thing. But what's interesting is you do have like a gradation of that in between, because you do have like Facebook celebrities or people who a lot of people will check for, and it's not as simple as it just everyone is suddenly on the same playing field. But no, it's interesting, and the way that things are more viral, the way that things have this capacity to kind of explode and expand, and everything is constantly feeding back to each other, and it's a lot more dynamic, and ultimately actually works a lot more like the human brain. So there's a little bit of food for thought.
It's more organic. It actually fits better with how our minds work. Okay,
I think the points you're making are very interesting. I think this whole kind of getting ecstatic about the democratization process that social media presents us with is kind of a kind of romantic view of the platform, because I mean, I have a lot of benefits that I draw from being on Facebook, like, you know, being able to publicize events where my artwork's being shown, like tonight. But actually, I think the whole idea of thinking it's a democracy, like if you look at Twitter, I read a statistic that said 90% of tweets are made by less than 10% of the people on Twitter. So it's actually not as democratic in terms of the romantic view that we have.
Than what we had before?
Maybe, but at the same time, Facebook and Twitter and all these websites, they make money off of our use of it, and we're not seeing any of that money. So at the same time, I mean, you know, I'm updating my thing every day, and people are making money off that, and I'm not seeing any of it. And how democratic is that? You know, so there's these kind of questions to ask as well.
Okay, so is Facebook, as we're talking about now, is Facebook an instrument of democracy? Is it a tool of oppression? What do people think? Is it both? Is it? Yeah.
Do you expect to get paid when you vote? Because if you're participating in something which is a democratic process, and like. True, but then again, also it's not your tweets or your Facebook post that is making Facebook money. It is adverts on Facebook which you are subject to, and it's all the peripheral stuff.
So you think that it's fine for them to make money?
I don't know if I think it's fine, but I don't think it's. I think it's unreasonable to expect some sort of financial return. But yeah.
Okay, I'll come to you in a second. But
yeah, I want to just back up the points being made by the guy on my right. His name. What's your name?
You know what? My name is Abbas.
By Abbas, because the point is with Facebook is that it's a closed system. Like we as users of Facebook, we're dependent on, we're in this system, we're becoming reliant on this system, and it's a business that's trying to make money. Facebook is only answerable to its shareholders. And so as we kind of become more reliant on it, like at some point in time, they could, you know, like stuff that they'll change, and they'll decide to change it because that's how they're going to maximize their profits, because they're only answerable to shareholders.
Okay. So only answerable to shareholders.
You know, when I like something, or if I buy something now on the internet, Facebook tracks me where I go, and then on someone else's page, it will come up and say, "Oh, your friend Abbas just bought this." And when they buy that, Facebook makes money from that transaction because I bought something and someone else bought it. Yeah. I'm not involved in that transaction in any sort of way. That's one example. What, brother, yeah? And respectful to what you're saying, I'm not clashing. I'm just saying that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we need to ask these questions and not just be
I think in a way we're painting a portrait of a system that's good and bad, and I think everyone agrees on that. But let's just bring, you're probably Facebook's biggest fan.
No, I'm not. I just think we have a choice in all of this. If you don't want Facebook, if you can change settings, you can delete yourself. There are ways. There are ways to get.
But are we being controlled by this system? Have they got too much control?
Well, it's up to you whether you tap into allow yourself to be controlled by the system. Basically, there's a lot of, you know what I mean. I think there's a choice in all of this.
Yeah, There's always been ways of controlling masses. You know what I mean? Whether it's propaganda, whether it's advertising, and you do have a choice. I completely agree. Like you have a choice not to go on it. You have a choice not to delve into other people's private lives. You just have to not do it. It's harder because there's a lot of pressure to kind of be socially involved through the internet, but just don't do it if you don't.
Okay, so is it really possible just to say no, I'm not interested in this? Okay, I'm just going to come to you because you haven't said anything yet.
Sure. The fact is, it would be really nice to be able to say, I don't want to participate in that and opt out, but you do fall behind. Like, I've tried before. I've been away for 2 weeks, a month before, and not checked my Facebook for that amount of time, and the fact is, you do fall behind, and it's a shame.
What do you mean fall behind?
You fall behind. You miss out. People create the expectation that everyone has Facebook, and because of that, they create events, for example, and someone will say, it's my birthday tomorrow, you come in, and I'll say, you didn't tell me about it. And they say, didn't you get the Facebook event? I'm like, I didn't check my Facebook for a month. And so you miss out on things in the real world because you're not following them in the cyber world.
Okay, so you actually do need to follow Facebook in order to be in the system. You need to be in there. You need to be part of it.
I think one of the problems is open bar. Is that basically you have people and they're doing all of these things, right, on Facebook.
Yeah.
But how much does that correlate to real life? And I think that's the issue, that in every medium, in every age, whether you had Facebook or didn't, you've got the masses. And there's always some people who are just going along and being a lemon, and there's some people who are always manipulating the system, whatever system that is. If it's Facebook, if it's voters, if it's Middle America, if it's like tablets and papyrus, there's always someone who's burning something and creating another. And I think that's the issue, that the amazing thing about now is the illusion that people think they're free or democratized. That's the issue. Whereas before, if you know someone's coming along and knocking down all the statues and erecting one of his own face, you know he's the main guy. Whereas now you think, well, everyone's doing this. iTunes is really popular. Is it really? We don't know.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But by the same stroke, someone could post on Facebook and expound everything that you just said and be a complete dissident against that system.
So
all that Facebook is doing is reflecting the apparent real world around us. We are all essentially bound by a consumerist society. Facebook is bound by a consumerist kind of...
so it is real.
It's not entirely real, but then real life isn't real. The way in which you're describing that we affect ourselves so that we only transmit certain parts of ourselves to other people to create an impression of ourselves upon those people is exactly what we're actually doing now, whether we realize it or not. Every single one of these people grabbing a microphone is essentially clicking on post.
I mean, of course it's real. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but I mean, there was a... there was a terrorist that was just killed by capital punishment in India a few days ago.
Yeah.
And two girls who were like 14 or 15, like in this small town in the middle of nowhere, posted it on their status and said, oh, well, we don't know about capital punishment. And they were arrested by the police like the next day. So I don't really think that just because you're on Facebook, I think it's an illusion that it's free. And of course they're allowed to have like freedom of expression, and Facebook allows that. Yeah, but they were still arrested. Yeah, they were arrested in the real world. So.
Okay. Okay. It's a reflector. Says, what's your name again?
Sensei C.
Say that again.
Sensei C.
Sensei C. It's a reflector. Is it the director or is it the reflector? Abbas?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think people that use these services need to be better informed about how the service works. I don't think anyone really understands what Facebook is, like behind the scenes, like how they use the algorithms and stuff, and how they make money off the users, and just all of how your feed is organized. Who am I seeing on a regular? Who do I think is my friend? And then at the same time, people need to have alternatives. So Facebook's monopolized greatly, but there is no alternative. So I don't really have a choice. If I want to be in contact with people online, there's very little alternative to Facebook.
Right.
And then at the end of it, I just want to say I think this forum is wonderful. I'm going to have to head off. My friend's performing, but we should replace Facebook with things like this. I think this is much better.
Yeah, let's have a round of applause for that one.
What's your name, Baba?
Mikey.
Sorry?
Mikey.
Mikey. Big up to Mikey, yeah?
Okay.